This first comic is very funny. I've performed with him a bunch of times, and now he's going to entertain you tonight. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, start clapping, start clapping, start clapping, start clapping. Welcome, Rudyard!
Hey, y'all. How's it going? Yeah, Big Papa. I wrote that song, you know. Yeah.
Right.
Y'all are good. Too good. I already fucked up. No. I'm Mexican. If you couldn't tell by this loud ass shirt I'm wearing. I went to Mexico a lot growing up. It was really great. I've been going to Mexico my whole life. A couple years ago, my uncle invited me to spend the summer on his ranch in Mexico to like help him out, and I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing, you know, because I love horses and like working fence posts and shit. But my real mission was to go to Mexico and buy drugs and bring it back to the States. Because like I don't know if y'all like remember all those news stories they used to play. It was like big news, like old people would get together and shuttle across the border, buy all their pills for the year, and then just shuttle back and everything was fine. And I was like, it's gonna be me. You know, it's gonna be great. First weekend in Mexico, off to a great start. Mom was like, hey, I'm going into town if you want to come with. And I was like, I see the opportunity, I'm taking it. Yes, I gotta run an errand. Drops me off at town square. I look around. Well, it doesn't take me long. I see a building that says Farmacia on top of it.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, here we go. And I just walk in, like, biggest smile on my face. I've got, like, my grocery list of, like, all the drugs that I want to buy.
Yeah.
Like, all the ones you can buy and, like, whatever. I just go up to the counter and I'm like, can I get a bottle of your finest Oxycontin, please? And they're like, ¿qué? I was like, oh no. I don't know how to say drugs in Spanish. I know like mota, but like that's it. I'm like, shit, but I don't even know what they call it. I know the real name for Xanax. And so I was like, alprazolam. No quieren alprazolam? And they're like, oh yeah, we got it for sure. We just need your prescription. And I was like, I don't know if y'all noticed or look around, but like we're in Mexico and
Right.
we don't do that here. And they're like, I don't know, no, you definitely need a prescription. These are like drugs. I was pissed. I was like, are you kidding me, man? That's not what they said on TV. All the old people look so high. So they're like, no, you gotta get a prescription. And I was like, fuck, all right. So I walk out, there's a doctor like a couple of doors down. I was like, tight. I go next door and I go to the doctor, and like, it was closed from 1 to 3, and then it was open till 5. Because from 1 to 3, the doctor goes home and takes a siesta. I was like, that's the one real thing on TV they got right? Just like fucking lazy ass Mexican people like, no, we need a government mandated 2-hour nap in the daytime. Like,
Right.
All right.
True.
So I'm like, oh, I gotta kill sometime. So I find like a veterinarian's office, and I walk in, and I was like, my horse is very sick. I'll take 1 bottle of your finest ketamine, please. And they're like, what's wrong with your horse? Like, I'm like, it's sick. I can't bring it in. It's like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, it's not on ketamine right now. It needs to be. And they're like, you need a prescription for that. And I was like, who taught y'all that word? Fine. Come back. And I went back to the doctor's office, and it was 4:30, and I see, because it's like big glass windows, I see the doctor like turning the sign from abierto to cerrado, which is how you know I'm really in Mexico, because that means open and close. And he's locking up, and I was like, fuck, no. And I run and I bang on the door, and I'm like, excuse me, sir, it's, I need to see you. And he's like, tomorrow. And yeah, like, no, we're closed. I was like, I can't come back tomorrow. I'm not from here. I'm an American. I'm a veteran, Army veteran, and like I need help. I need to see you today. And he's like, all right, come in. Unlocks the door. I'm like, yes, I'm in. Comes in. He like looks around after I walk in, and he closes the door, like locks it. Real shady. And that should have been my first clue that like maybe this drug-induced trip in Mexico isn't on the up and up as I thought. And he's like, all right, so what's wrong with you? And I was like, well, I'm an Army veteran, you know, I have panic attacks, I have depression, I'm on antidepressants at home, but like, you know how doctors are in America, they're real shy and they don't want to give me ketamine or Xanax or anything cool, anything that'll help me. And he's like, yeah, and you went overseas? And I was like, yes. Because I was an X-ray tech. Like my panic attacks came from getting too fat to fit in my suit. And like, like I was nervous that I'd get in trouble for like gaining all that weight. And like, yeah. And so he's like, oh, you went overseas? And I was like, oh yeah, I did. It was rough, real tough. And he's like, all right, well, come back to my office. And we go, and he takes me back into his office, which like, notice I didn't say patient room or patient room 1. I said his office, which was like weird, kind of looking back, and should have been like my first clue. And he was like, all right, so what are you looking for? And I'm looking for like Xanax. I'm looking for anti-anxiety pills. I'm looking for something, you know, like mental stuff. And he's like, all right, Dr. Pants? Underwear too.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that'll give me Xanax. Yeah, sure. Like in like under my belt. I shimmy down and I'm sitting there like dick out. And he comes over and he's like, and like he grabs my balls and like gives him a couple of squeezes and he's like, we're gonna need a table for this one. Lay on the table. And I was like, yeah, whatever gets me drugs. And like at this point, I don't know like what's really going on. I'm like, man, Mexican doctor is weird. And he's like laying on the table and he's like squeezing my balls, like slapping my dick around and stuff. And I was like, man, I don't know what they teach. Like, I didn't go to medical school, but I guess in Mexico they teach you how to like find nervous balls. I think, like, I don't know, like I want Xanax, but yeah, sure. I'm sure the Xanax anxiety starts like in the tank. And so he slaps around, gives me a squeeze, and he's like, all right, flip over. And I was like, good, because this ball thing was getting weird. And I flip over on my stomach and I realize like, oh, what? And he's like, all right, can you open up for me? And I was like, you want me to like spread cheeks? And he goes, yeah, I'm checking for hemorrhoids. And I was like, man, this doctor is super thorough. And so like, I'm laying there, just like looking up like this, and I spread them, and I swear to God, he was like, I was like, what? He goes, I'm checking the reflexes. I'm like, good, because I mean, it can make my butthole pucker up, so, like, man, doctoring in Mexico is wild, y'all. And like, after it, he's like, all right, you can close up. And I stand up, he's like, pull your pants up and pull them up, and he's like, yep, you have anxiety, all right? And I was like, perfect, this went exactly the plan. And like, he gives me a prescription, and I can't read it, doctors, whatever. And he's like, all right, don't tell anyone I let you in here after hours. And I was like, yeah, don't worry, I'm never telling anyone about this, ever. No, it's fine, as I tell all of you. And I go back next door, and I give him the prescription, and I'm like, I found it. They're like, all right, and they give me 100 Valiums. It's amazing, I'm so stoked. And like, call my uncle, and I'm like, hey, I'm done with my errands, can you pick me up? And he picks me up, and on the ride home, I'm like super stoked that I have all this Valium. And then it starts to dawn on me like, you know, Waldo, I don't think that doctor needed to squeeze your dick to know you had like panic attacks. If only I had something to make me forget. Oh, I have all this Valium, and I don't remember the rest of the summer, and it was fantastic. I was so stoked. So if you ever want cheap drugs, just go to Mexico and like let him touch it a little bit. You know what I mean? Oh, all right. That's been my story. Thank you so much. I'm Waldo Rodas.
Thank you, see you, Rollo. Wow. Holy shit, man. You turned that opioid crisis into an opioid opportunity, dog. It's fucking 100 value. How the fuck are you alive? That's how fucking 1950s rock stars used to die, man. I can hear your heart from here, dog. Help, 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 help. It's tough to be like on antidepressants and wear like Hawaiian shirts, I know. Your outside does not reflect the inside.